Do you think it's weird that we put serial killers to death? No? Okay. It's just... No, just hear me out. I only ask because somebody got to kill all them, and it's usually the same person. So isn't an executioner just a serial killer that made it? Like, isn't he just like the industry plant of serial killers? Like, maybe not. I'm just asking questions. Okay. Y'all probably won't like this. Okay. I saw this story and it blew my mind. I still can't get over it. Okay. There was a guy in, I think it was Indianapolis in the 60s maybe, and he was essentially like, they didn't really have the words for it back then, but he was a serial killer, and he killed, and I think he killed and ate 8 women, right? And they caught him because he just got sloppy. He became a hoarder, and it was pretty easy. Once they walked in, they were like, there is evidence everywhere. I am stepping in evidence right now. This is crazy. And so then they, gave him the perp walk, and newspaper took his picture and everything. And then they were interviewing. They did a bunch of follow-ups, and they were interviewing his friends and family and stuff like that. And then they interviewed one woman who he went on a date with between number 4 and number 5, and she was like, I thought we had a great time and went back to his place. And then he, was being all rude and everything. And then he ended up kicking me out. And I was like, wait. As I was reading it, I was like, is she mad she didn't get eaten? It's hard to get context through text sometimes, but she just sounds so indignant. I'm like, wait. She doesn't even sound like, oh, thank goodness. She's like, what's wrong with me? Like, why? Like, all right, I'm delicious, okay? I bit my lip the other day and it was fire. All right? You don't know what you missed. But yeah, she said that, went back to his place. They were chatting and everything, and then like, I don't know. He just all of a sudden he was all rude and stuff, and then ended up being like, I think it's best if you just go home. You know what I mean? And there was a part of me that was like, look, maybe they were having a great date, great conversation, and then whatever was so special about this woman, he was like, I can't do it. I can't. She's too good of a person. Like, I got to get her away from me. Let me be rude. Let me just kick her out, something like that. Save her from me. But then the other part of me was like, no, I think this is the most annoying person that's ever lived. I think this dude is a serial killer, and he brought this woman home to kill her, maybe eat her, and then she just, at a certain point, the conversation is going so poorly, he's like, I can't even eat this bitch. Like, this... Like, showed a picture of her kissing her cat on the mouth or something. He was like, Some things are just disgusting, all right? Sometimes I really worry badly that we're like, as people, that we're lost. And that one of the reasons we're lost is that we don't really have any more like heroes to look up to. I mean, some people have heroes, but then the hero's like an actor, and I'm like, what are you doing? You want to be like the guy that pretends? You know what I mean? And just, I was thinking about it for a while over the weekend. Because what we used to have was very little access to anyone we considered a hero. And because of that lack of access, if you really wanted to know about this person, if they became famous enough in their own lifetime, there'd be a person that came, a writer that came and followed them around for years, maybe decades, and then they wrote a biography. And we didn't even give a second thought to how biased it probably was, or how much the writer may have come to love this person. We were just like, okay, wow, what a great human. But that's a problem. I don't even think that everyone makes it seem like Gen Z or Gen X or like millennials, all this stuff like that are so different. I don't think we are. I think every generation of people has always been hopelessly human. And now we just see all of it. That's what's so scary now, is that there are great leaders that may not get the chance because we already saw them not be like worthy. You know what I mean? We find out a lot of the stuff we find out about people now that we think are great after they died. And now we see all the stuff, we see all the mistakes happen in real time, and it makes people harder to follow. Do you really think you would have followed MLK if he did the Tide Pod Challenge? Do you think if a young MLK in high school was like, oh, all right, this is Martin here. We about to see what it do. And then 5 years later, he's like, march with me. They might beat our ass, but come on. No. I'm scared that's what's happening right now. I think that there's a brilliant, young, but smart for her age, wise old soul. There's a incredible person out there right now, a young Angela Davis right now, twerking. And like feet on the wall too, like nasty stuff. And then 20 years from now, when she's ready to lead a revolution, there are going to be people that are like, this you? This you with the booty? It's like, yeah, it was a different time. It's like, nah, I've seen it now. Yeah, this was tough. That's what we're all like. That's what's so scary. It's like, that's why it takes so much faith to follow a person, but it's hard to have faith when you've just been exposed to all the stuff. I'll tell you what, I was in a TSA line behind someone. I won't say who it was, but it was someone who I respect very much for her work, right? And this didn't change how I felt about her. It's just what piqued this idea in my head, okay? She was in line ahead of me in TSA, and both of our bags got flagged, right? And so then they were doing her bag first, but I was standing kind of like near her because my bag was next. And I was like looking at my bag being like, what did I do? You know what I mean? Because when they flag it, you're like, I don't own a gun or anything, so like, what could this possibly be? And it's always water. It's water every time. It's water. Every single time it is water. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, there's no way I could have let my box cutter fall into my backpack. And also when your bag gets flagged and you're just like black, you do just start wondering what could happen. You're like, all right, but could somebody have put something in my bag while I wasn't looking? Or like, start adding up the jail time and everything. So I'm standing next to her, and then they open up her bag, and there's a buzzing, and so the guy is like terrified, right? Because as soon as he unzips the bag, because at first he's like chill, he's like that deadpan, like, are there any sharp objects or things that could hurt me when I put my hand in? She was like, no, and then she's like staring at the bag while he's unzipping it, and then there's a buzzing, and the buzzing is like really strong, and it's buzzing so hard. Now he has to look, and he's like, do you know what that could be? And she's like, no, I have no idea what that could be. And she's like, my alarm is on my phone. I don't know what that could be. And so now this dude, and this is where you could tell that TSA doesn't get trained. They don't get trained for the bad stuff to really happen like that. And so then TSA, this dude over here, the bag is right here, right? This man puts a back foot, he took a step back and bent his knees like he would run. And I'm like, but then what are we supposed to, because you're not telling us to back up. And you're not calling for backup. You just over here unzipped it through the flap. And then he starts taking some of her clothes out and everything, takes some of it. And like, when I tell you, like, look, I know it's gonna sound like I'm being hyperbolic, but I'm being like genuine. When he goes to lift like another clump of clothes, because you know, they're not careful when they do this. They're not like, oh, you folded everything so neatly. I'll just take 3 shirts at a time and move them out of the bag. They just grab and so he goes to grab, and when he ended up grabbing, what he grabbed was whatever was buzzing, and so then it was in his hand for a second, and then this man audibly screamed, right? So then he over here grabbing stuff out of her bag, and then he grabs it, and you can hear it gets louder when it's in his hand, and he pulls it, like, and he's like, oh, oh! And then this vibrator went to town on that table. I've never said, because it wasn't, okay, I don't know how she used it. This seemed like, maybe I'm just vanilla, but I wouldn't be able to handle something like this because it was jumping on, so it wasn't just moving along the table. It wasn't just, this thing was fully like, this motherfucker started breakdancing on the table. And then she was like, oh, that's my, he's like, I know. And now he got his gloves, but then even with the gloves, he seems scared to touch it, right? So then he gets it and like, I'm not acting like I would have known how to turn it off right away. But this really was getting away from him. Like, it really was like he finally grabbed it and he over. I've never seen someone try to do police brutality on a bike, because he tried to beat she tried to choke the life out of it. And then he finally accidentally turns it off. And he breathing all hard, like, is there anything else in there? And she was like, no, that's the only one. And he's like, all right, you're good to go. Puts in, then it did make me laugh at the moment. Like, so not only did he put it back in the suitcase, but then he really like put her clothes back like he was trying to kill it. Like he was. And when I bring the story up, like I said, it didn't make me judge her as a person. I still very much respect her. I'm just saying, if she were to lead a revolution tomorrow, I'd be like, all right, but are we going vibrator first? Because like, I just know that about you now. You know what I mean? I hope that's gonna lead the charge. You all have been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I'm Josh Johnson. Have a good night. I felt so dumb. I didn't realize a service dog and an emotional support dog were 2 different things. I knew they were different because the names are different, but I didn't realize in which ways they were different. A service dog is trained. That's a trained animal to take care of the person that has the need that they help with. An emotional support dog is just a dog you feel a connection to. That you just get to emotionally support. The dog doesn't have a choice, really. The dog is... You just roll up on a dog one day and you're like, I'm gonna tell you everything.
That's, wow, I did not know. Had no idea. And I bring it up because my friend, she got an emotional support dog for her husband without knowing that this dog was an emotional wreck. I don't know what's wrong with the dog. They bring the dog home. Something wrong with the dog throat, okay? I don't know what it is, but it can't bark right. So it doesn't bark, it just screams, okay? And not like a yelp. This isn't sad. This is worse than that. It just screams human screams, okay? So the dog, I was on the phone with her, heard the dog in the background, and the dog was like, oh! That's just all the time. That's all day what the dog does. Nonstop. It's crazy. The dog has bad nerves, and so it screams all the time. Everything sets it off. You pet the dog, it'll scream, and then it'll let you pet it, right? Because you snuck up on it to pet it. So you pet it, you're like, oh, oh, oh. It's terrible. Dog's a light sleeper, too. So the dog will be taking naps, the most Instagrammable naps you've ever seen. Just like belly up, paws down, everything. And it'll still be snoring little puppy snores, too, like, oh. Oh, that's how it wakes up every day. And so she's like, my life is hell. This is terrible because I got the dog as an emotional support dog for my husband, not knowing that the dog is anxious and my husband's anxious. So the dog is emotionally supporting the husband just in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? Because then the husband is like, I don't feel so good. And the dog's like, yeah, you're right. It's a lot to be worried about, dog. It's crazy out here. What's that over there? Huh? Huh? Like, that's what it's doing all the time. She can't get any sleep because the dog sleeps with them. So the dog sleeps in between. It's actually adorable. It's like very like home living. Her right here, dog over here, husband over here. But they live in like a noisy apartment, paper thin walls, so you can hear the door slam from down the hall, right? And so the dog waking up all night. So somebody will slam the door down the hall, a door that has nothing to do with them, that is none of their business, and the dog will be like, oh! And then her husband will be like, ah! And then she will be like, ah! That's just all day. That's just going and revolving, this domino effect of screams. It got so bad, someone called the police. Police show up to her door, knock. She answers like, hey, I'm here to do like a wellness check. Neighbor said that they heard screaming. And she's like, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm okay and everything. And my husband's here. Come over here. He comes over to the door. He's like, hey, I'm good. We're all good in here. And the cop is like, oh, okay, cool. Where's that third person? Because they said specifically that there was 3 people. And then she's like, no, it's just us here. So now they look like they've murdered a person. Like now it looks like a cover-up, right? And it's like, no, it's just here. Cop's writing down everything that they're saying. As the cop is writing, he dropped his pen, and the dog in the background is like, oh! And the cop sees the dog and is like, and then she's like, oh, yeah, that must have been what it was. I got the dog for my husband, but it turns out that the dog is anxious and my husband is anxious. My life is hell. I can't. Oh. Okay. Have y'all seen how much trouble Lizzo is in? This is crazy. This is genuinely wild, you know? If you don't know, like, Lizzo has a lawsuit out that's like coming at her for like all types of discrimination and body shaming and stuff like that. And it's her fans who are like genuinely hurt. Her fans are very hurt by the whole thing. She lost 150,000 followers on Instagram alone in one day when the news broke. 150,000 followers in one day. That means even bots were like, I can't endorse this. This is unacceptable. But genuinely, I think this is the thing. I think that Lizzo's fans are so hurt because she's known to them and to a lot of the world as this like true beacon of like light, loving yourself, forget haters, embrace who you are and everything. Which is why this should be a lesson to everybody in here, everyone listening to me right now. This is a lesson to all of us to never, ever become a positive influencer. Don't do it. There's too far to fall. Oh my God. I'm not even like a famous guy, but I still, in case I ever get there, tell people all the time that I can be a dick. Just to give myself some breathing room, you know what I mean? Just a little bit, you know? That way when I fall off my pedestal, I sprain my ankle instead of break my neck, you know what I mean? Because I'm human. Something's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna catch me on TikTok one day, just yelling at a United Airlines gate agent. And when I get caught, even people who don't know will be like, he always told us he was a dick. Like, kind of laid it all out there. It's tough. And I think that this is the reason that it's so tough for people. We do a thing that is not fair to us, and it's not fair to the people that we do it to, where we pull our role models, our like heroes, positive influences, from people that we already like from doing other stuff. You notice that? We rarely ever make an actual activist famous. You know, there are people doing the work. There are people, whatever you care about, there are people in the world only doing that thing. But instead of finding them and lifting them up, we're like, no, after LeBron dunked, he looked in the camera and said, Black Lives Matter, bitch. So I think the cops have to stop. I think that's all we need to do, really. You know, we can't keep doing this thing where we conflate talent for character. You know, you got to be very careful. Be very careful of the people that seek power and the people that seek fame, because they're usually the same. And then we act surprised when we see their worst sides, you know. And we only do this thing with celebrities. You never do that with a regular dude with a regular job. You know what I mean? Somebody can sing, doesn't make Martin Luther King. You know? We never do it to regular people. I've never had a plumber that was so good, I was like, he must be a good dad. Like, there's something about the way he plumbed that just spelled father figure, you know what I mean? Like, the way he be pulling it out. I go the other way now. Now when I see somebody super talented out here dancing, popping and locking and stuff, I'm like, oh, he probably beat people. Like, I can see it, yeah, because he knows the moves. He knows how to choke, you know what I'm saying? And we don't know. We don't know what happened. We can feel how we feel, but we don't know, right? But I will say, it doesn't help that Lizzo hired Cosby's lawyer. That's I don't know. We don't know, but that doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. I don't know how to describe it, but like if you ever told me, you told people and you confront me and you were like, you did this thing, and I was like, hey, I didn't do that shit. Give me the nigga that Cosby got. All right. Like I said. Oh. Just doesn't sit well, you know. All right. I have to go soon. Everybody's had a gun story so far, so I figure I'll tell a quick one. I was in Texas. Texas is like open carry, you know. And so I saw these two dudes. I was in Target, right? And I saw these two dudes bump into each other, and they both whipped around. And they didn't seem angry, but they were checking each other up and down. I was like, this is some like alpha male type thing is about to happen, right? And then one was like, I see you're carrying. And the guy went, I sure am. And like, I should point out real quick that this is at the self-checkout at Target, so like, so I'm just trying to ring myself up. Like I'm over, but he over here and he over here, so I'm gonna get shot because I'm in between, right? You can't have a standoff with somebody in the middle. No Western has ever done that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, y'all, please, we are in Target. And so then he's like, I sure am. And the other guy's like, so am I. And the guy who did this goes, oh my God, we have the same gun. Oh my God, that's so dope. They both pulled out their guns and they both had the same like camo print, everything. I was like, wow, what an adorable outing. You all were so great. Thank you so much. I'm Josh Johnson.
I've been thinking about this a lot. I think as guys, right? Like as men, I do think that we're like too confident in our ability. That's the end of the sentence. There's just like, as human dudes, there's no other species of male in anything. You could be a gazelle. A male, like gazelle. Do they make male gazelle? Anyway, you could be a male gazelle. There's no random day where you're gonna look at a lion and be like, he looked like he want to fight. Like this shit. Do you know what I mean? You know how every other male sees like an order to the world and functions in it? We're the only ones. It's crazy. It's crazy. We're the only ones. Maybe a female gazelle might fight a lion, and that's if the lion's already attacking her child. You know, she might step up, and even then, it's like 30%. So like, there's just an order to nature. I was hanging out with a friend, turns to me, unprovoked. I had said nothing, and he goes, "You think you could fight a bear?" And I was like, what? No. It's the quickest no. No. It's a bear. You didn't ask me about a cub. In the scenario you given me, a bear wants to fight me. And I'm gonna fight the bear and win? Like, no. And I asked her, I was like, do you think you could fight a bear? And he was like, well, if I came at it right. I'm like, don't even finish the sentence. If I came at it right. What are you saying right now? If I came at it right. That's the crazy. According to experts, the only way to come at it is to pretend to already be dead. What do you mean if the bear came at you like a bear, you would die. I would bet money on it. That's crazy. And then he got irate with me. He got all defensive, started attacking me. He was like, so you would just let a bear kill you? I'm like, what are we talking about? What do you mean, let a bear? It's a bear. You picked a bear. You didn't even pick something I might have a chance against, like a stray cat. You went straight to bear. Do you think you can fight a bear? Oh, you just gonna let a bear kill you? Look, if I went home, if this is how confident I am a bear would kill me, I don't go where bears are. You don't catch me anywhere out in the world where the bears will be. In fact, if there was a bear when I went home in my apartment, that's a bear's apartment now. And I'm good with that. I'm willing to let that bear have my couch. That's fine. Everything in the fridge is his now. Crazy. Crazy talk. And look, I'm not acting like there isn't a place I could step up. When it comes to bugs, I could be braver. I will say that. When it comes to bugs, I could step up a little bit. Because if a bug is too big, I will take a step back. Just to try to assess what it is. Because sometimes, like, I don't have the best eyes, but sometimes you see like 9 legs or something. You're like, what is that? Before I step on it, what is this? Is it an alien? You know? I remember there was one day Oh, I had a fly in my apartment, and it was the plague of my life. I didn't know how the fly got in my apartment, and it had the loudest wings. It might as well have been bird wings. It was the loudest fly I've ever heard, and it would get like right next to my ear, which was making me flinch. Like it did kind of punk me in a little, because I had the fly swatter ready, and it would be in the ear that was like the flies. So that I would be looking for it, like, and I'd be like, oh. And it was all day. It was all day I was trying to kill it. All, like, top to bottom, all day. And then it was so gross, because then I was like hitting myself with the fly swatter, because I was like, at some point, if I swing back, I might catch it. And then it was hitting my ear. So I was beating myself. And then I finally was like, let me just go take a shower, cool off, because I had to go somewhere that night. So I get in the shower, take a shower. I don't know when the fly came in the bathroom. I don't know if it came in through a vent or through the door with me, but then the fly came at me while I was in the shower. Now this is attempted murder, because I am on wet porcelain. I cannot mess around right now. If I fall in this shower and I die, and my killer is a fly, and I die like a bad Dr. Seuss. Anyway, I finished my shower. I, swatting them off, everything still. And then I opened the curtain. It's right there. I'm exhausted. I'm naked, I'm wet. I grab my towel, and I spin my towel, get really tight, right? I don't even care if you believe me. It's one of the proudest days of my life. I spun my towel as hard as I could, and then I popped it at the fly, and right at the end, right at the tip, it popped the fly and killed it. And I'm not gonna lie to you. In that moment, I was like, I think I could fight a bear. I'm just saying, if I had a towel, I have a chance. Okay, look, when I say it, it's not gonna sound true, but believe me, all right? I really thought that when I saw Drake leaks trending, it was gonna be music. I was so sure that it was gonna be music. I was like, stuff leaks all the time. Let's listen to this album before it comes out. And I know a lot of people thought that. I'm not alone. A lot of other people said, they were like, you thought it'd be music too. I was like, yeah, I thought it'd be music. And in case you don't know who Drake is, I don't know how, but in case you don't know who Drake is, he's a rapper. And in case you don't know about the Drake leak, okay. So Drake leak was trending, and then I clicked it, and you just see a lot of Drake. It's a lot of Drake. It's a lot of Drake. It's more Drake than I thought there was Drake. You know what I mean? And I want to be clear about something, okay? Because I know it's weird, but a bad thing happened. Someone's nudes were leaked, and that should never happen. It should truly never happen. Everyone deserves autonomy for their body. I know he's like a rich man, so it's easier to let it slide, and it's different. It feels different, at least, when it's like a woman's nudes. But still, he didn't want that out there, and it's out there, which is a shame. So I felt very conflicted, because I was like, that's a shame that somebody would do that, And then on the other hand, I was like, all right, but no more sad songs. I don't... If I had a friend that was built like Drake, I would never let him cry to me. About anything. I'm not gonna lie.
It would always be burned in my brain. I'd be like, hey, everybody daddy dies sometimes, okay? Cheer up and look down. I read this report that I read a report that they want to NASA's trying to make contact, with some intelligent life, and we really tried everything. We tried so many different things, and we haven't just spent billions of dollars. If you count every country that's had success leaving the atmosphere, going into space, we spent trillions of dollars as a people. It's an endeavor that's been as old as the ages to make contact and make sure, or at least find out that we're not alone in the entire universe, right? So they send out signals. They've used radio waves. They've used light, images, everything that they can think of. Every telescopic endeavor's been tried. And so now NASA, I'm not even kidding, you can look this up. NASA's like, we gonna send nudes. We're gonna send nudes out in this, because that might do it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a big deal. We have not tried that yet. We've been out here sending old 1920s radio wave. I don't know, my baby. We've tried all that stuff, and it didn't do anything. So let's send nudes and see. Wouldn't it be wild if it worked, though? Wouldn't it be crazy if a month later, aliens landed and they were like, titties is all you had to say? I mean, if we had known that there were titties, that we would have come. It feels, you know what I mean? Just say you're out of ideas. Smartest minds in the world. Smartest ones on the planet. And they're like, maybe this feels weird. And I know what I said before, and I meant that. But since they're already out, maybe send the Drake link, maybe, I don't know. And look, not out of context. Send a copy of Take Care. And send the Drake video and just see what the aliens think. They might come. They might be like... I also read a report that says that Viagra may lower the risk of Alzheimer's, which is kind of bad news when you think about it. Is that really what the world needs? Just a bunch of old men, hard and aware? I thought that as men we had a pact with the earth. We would wreak havoc for the first 50 years of our lives, and then after a while we'd slow down, we'd get confused, and we would not be hard anymore. That's how you restore balance to the planet. Imagine an evil dude. Because we do this all the time. Being old is supposed to be the saving grace of your life. Especially as a man. As a man, love is very conditional from the world, right? You're born a baby. We all love babies. You become a kid. A lot of people love kids. Then you're a man. And then everyone's like, is it your fault, right? Even if you don't have power, you look like the ones that do, and so it's like, oh, I'll just lump you in, right? Then you get old, and then you getting old is the like, we can love you again. It's true. You get old, and then people are like, what's he gonna do? We've seen it. We've seen horrible, horrible, evil men get old, and somehow all is forgiven. We've watched literal war criminals turn 99, and it's like, well, he's not doing anything now. Like, he's a fucking war criminal. He don't remember, though. Why does that get him a pass? He doesn't remember. Now you're just feeding them Viagra so they can be evil longer. Literally. We have to stop this. This is crazy.
Soho Theater, please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I don't know if I'm the only one who cares, but have y'all seen what's happening with Duolingo? Okay, in case you're not familiar, Duolingo is an app where you learn other languages, supposedly. It's basically this app where they gamify learning another language through like quizzes and little mini games, little mini quests and stuff. And I'm not gonna say it doesn't work, but everybody I know that uses Duolingo still speaks English to me. Just throwing that out there. And you know, over time it was getting more expensive, and over time there would be mistakes that were in the games and in the programs, which were kind of, I don't know how you would put it, but basically it was kind of forgivable because you felt like you were getting that real-time help through a person, you know? So then a person would see through comments, oh, this is messed up, oh, let me fix it, it actually should have been like this. And you were really getting like a sort of language learning community going under Duolingo, which is the point, you would think, to learn a new language, to talk to more people. It'd be kind of weird to learn language just to be like, I did it. And no one will ever know. I'm just gonna go to whole countries, know what they saying and not tell anybody. I have the power. I only think like a psychopath would do that. Like I've seen those viral videos of people being like in Japan, and no one thinks that this black person in Japan speaks Japanese, so then they like are recording themselves or they're streaming, and then someone says something about them, and then they're like, boom, I know Japanese, and the person's like, what? How? You don't look like it. You know? That actually would have been a fire ad for Duolingo back in the day. It's just like, have you like eating at like a fast food spot, everyone around you roasting you, everybody getting one in, like, and the back of his head, look at it, look, I can see right through it. Does he even know he got that bald spot? The bald spot fighting for his life is shiny. It's like a flashlight. And then you bounce back, you're like, I know French. What? I'm so embarrassed. I was being rude in undercover. Duolingo. But no, that's not what happened. You know, people were slowly learning these languages over time. And learning is like a hard, it's a hard way to describe it, because it's not as if the language was fully being taught. It's not like the same thing as sitting in a class being taught the tenses, being taught the situations to say certain things versus other things. It's more just like, did you spell we right? That's a little French. Have some of that. And so over time, you see Duolingo
also get this internet presence that's like, their socials team is very like in vogue. You know, they get in there, they're funny in the comments, spicy comments too. Sometimes they got a quick jab back whenever somebody tries to trash Duolingo. And I don't know how I feel about it. If I'm being honest, it's like through our tax systems and through the economy, we already treat these companies like people. I don't know if I want to pretend that they're also interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like when I see a Twitter handle for a company, I don't want to be like, oh, they're so moody today. I can't believe Microsoft's so angry. You know, because it's not like it's not an individual, it's a company. And there are individuals making that company feel like your friend, but they're not your friend. They're not your friend at all. And then they do this move, which is wildly unpopular, where they release a statement where they say, we're going to be an AI-first company, which is an interesting title to give yourself. You could have said customer first. You could have said teacher first. And you could have not said anything. Because people were already noticing. They were like, I think there's like less people working there now. I feel like some of my answers don't get answered in the right way. Some of the lessons even feel a bit like Chat GPT-ish, you know? And then they came out and said it. They're like, look, we're going to use AI and you're going to learn just the same as you've been learning. And I had friends who were like, I'm not learning anything already. And honestly, what's the fun of using Duolingo if you could just use any sort of like open AI, any sort of AI program to make your own learning course? If it's AI, then what's special about it? And so you see people, big backlash. Every time they even tweet, post anything, people are like, was this written by AI? You know? And it gets to the point where I don't really know if they were hacked or not, or if that's just like part of the marketing scheme, but basically they took down everything because they were getting trashed. Because, you know, they want to be expensive, they want to hire less people, they want to essentially disregard, disrespect, or just get rid altogether of their teachers and have you pay, I think, $20 a month to not learn French. And so people were rightfully upset. And so they take everything down and then they post it again, and they post it as the is it a frog? I mean, I think it's a bird. It's an owl? So they post it with a guy in a owl costume. And that guy was using like the deep, distorted voice, talking about how the elites ruined Duolingo. And I was like, yeah, but aren't you... What's happening? And then I think it was the CEO that even came out, and instead of giving some sort of statement that basically says, hey, look, yes, we're going to be using AI, but we're still going to have our teachers, and our teachers are going to just use AI for some of the menial tasks, but you'll still be talking to a teacher. Instead of reassuring the customers at all, he kind of just doubled down and was like, look, the AI is going to be better than teachers anyway. That people got really mad. And I think what's happening here is what's happening all the time. Teaching is hard. Teaching is very difficult. And if you love something and you love it enough to teach it, that to me is amazing. I don't know if I know anything well enough to teach it. And I don't know if I have the patience to convey those ideas in an efficient enough way that you know what I know when I'm done talking. That's scary. I would never try to teach. I don't know, even things that I'll admit right now, even things that I'm pretty sure about, I don't know enough about to teach. I believe in climate change, but if you asked me about climate change when I got done talking about climate change, you wouldn't believe in climate change. When I got done talking, you'd be like, everything he said sound made up. Because teaching is very, very difficult, and we forget From every perspective, teaching is difficult. It's difficult in and of itself alone to be in your head, have the idea, convey the idea in a way that gets through someone else's head. You gotta get past all the video games and all the crushes and all the, just to be like, math! That's already hard enough. Never mind the fact that like kids are difficult. I'm not just talking about like junior high or all of them. I remember being difficult as a kid. I wasn't trying to be difficult. I wanted to learn the thing. It was not getting in. I was fighting it. I didn't even know it. Sometimes I'd even be a little pompous, you know? Like I'll admit it, as a little kid, give me some grace. As a child, I was a flat earther. When I was little, I was a flat earther because, you know, my teacher tried to teach me about the globe and all the countries around the globe and stuff like that and how the earth was round. And I was like, Just gonna throw this out there for you. Feels pretty flat to me. I know I haven't been all over the world, but never been, you know, sideways. So I think it's pretty flat. Sorry to embarrass you while you're talking to the whole class, but... And then my teacher very graciously was like, oh, yeah, this is sadly a common misconception. It's not actually flat. The earth is round. I'm like, oh, huh. Not to contradict you, ma'am, but if the earth is round, why are all the maps flat? Truly, as an 8-year-old, I thought I had a mic drop moment. I was like, I mean, I rest my case. That's up there with you. You the one projected that thing, so, I mean, maybe I should have the chalk. I'm just saying. And then my teacher pulled out a globe. Because it's difficult. And look, I'm not a parent, and I can't imagine what it's like to be a parent the same way I can't imagine what it's like to be a teacher, but I see some of the friction that parents have with teachers sometimes, whether they think that they could do it better or that they think it must not be their kid, it must be the teacher. And I thought that all would have been settled through COVID. You remember that time where everybody was alone with their kids? To see how well they sort of grasped everything? You know, I don't think enough teachers got an apology. I feel like 2021, you should show up to your kid's school and be like, I didn't know he just wouldn't take the words in. Like, I really thought it was you this entire time, but nah, he hates science. That's his kryptonite. No? It's also hard because I think the way that we look at teaching is as the obstacle as opposed to as the help, right? Like even now, if someone tries to teach you something, there's some reluctance there sometimes. What it used to be, you're a kid and these adults, they don't know what they're talking about and try to teach me something. And then you become an adult and you're like, why do you think you can teach me something? We're the same age. And then you get older, and then someone younger than you has something to say, and you're like, why do you think you can teach me something? You don't even know about the world, right? So I think that a lot of people, myself included, sometimes have a reluctance to learning in general, especially because there's a sort of like hubris around getting an idea. When you get an idea, you feel like you got it. I snatch that, you know? It's like when people say that they're self-taught, but then they tell you how they taught themselves. No, I went to my friend's house. He built a whole deck And I was like, that's incredible. I didn't know you did construction. He's like, I don't. I was like, how'd you build a deck? He's like, oh, self-taught. And I was like, how did you teach yourself to build a deck? And he's like, oh, I just watched this guy on YouTube for like 75 hours or whatever. I had to watch some of the videos over and over again because I was scared I was going to mess up my cuts and everything. But then I got it, yeah. Then he taught you. That's not self-taught at all. 75 hours of listening to some other dude talk, he might as well have been here. No, because there's a deep respect that I have for teachers because they cared about something so much that they were willing to learn more about it than they ever probably had to, just to teach it to someone else, to share the thing that they love. My math teacher loved math so much that she went to more school for math, and then she came back, got a teaching degree, and then came back and taught a lower math than she understands. She has to dumb down math every day just to bring it to me. And just to try to give me some math, she went through all that. And I don't know how we did it. It's kind of incredible that all over the world, we somehow managed to not pay teachers enough and not give them enough, like in every country, no matter where you go. And so, I bring it up because I think that, I'm not a teacher, but I think the thing that teachers fall in love with is like that light bulb. Watching someone get something that you understand, that you're giving to them, and then it clicks. And they're like, oh, whether they're a little kid, little bitty kid. I remember a teacher at school is who really taught me how to tie my shoes. Like really, really put it together for me in my head. Obviously, my grandma tied my shoes and would show me how to do it while she was doing it. My mom would tie my shoes. My dad would tie my shoes. But she was the one that was like, no, we're going to practice. I'm just going to tie it. We're going to practice. And so then she tied it because I ran up to her after recess. I had been falling, right? I've been tripping hard. I was doing that, that Looney Tunes drag where your legs go up? Because I was getting a good start, and then I'd step on a lace, and I'd go, whoa! And so, ran up to her. I was like, hey, can you help me tie my shoes? Just both. Laces couldn't be further from my feet. Just, can you help me tie my shoes? And she was like, sure. And then she tied both my shoes for me. And then just like that, she pulled the string and untied them both. And I was like, oh. I'd never been betrayed before. It's like, why would you, what's wrong with you? And she was like, no, I've tied your shoes a couple days in a row. I'm not going to tie them anymore. We're going to tie them together. And so for the rest of recess, sat down, tied my shoes over and over again until the last time I tied them and I didn't even notice it. And then for the rest of the time I was in elementary school, every time she saw me, shoes tied, she saw that light bulb go off. Oh. And no matter how reluctant someone is to be taught, it's a beautiful thing when that happens. When the idea gets through and you can see it. You see the light bulb go off. Oh, it's round. Who would have thought? And so, I don't know what it's like. I see this move in Duolingo towards AI, and that move towards AI is not to give you, the consumer, a better product. It's not to help the actual teachers who are passionate about people learning other languages so they can make new friends or have new experiences or just open their minds up to how big the world really is. When you understand language and you understand how many different ways there are to say something specifically and how few ways there are to say something very unique, you have an appreciation for communication, right? And that's not what Duolingo is looking to do. They would like to make more money. And it's a business, so to be fair, more money would be nice. That's what you're supposed to do at business. No one shows up to business like, did you make any friends? But that is why they're making that move towards AI. And I see that thing happening in places that do make me worry. Like, I don't know much about the UK school system or anything. I don't know if it's good or bad or how y'all feel about it. I just know the stories that I've been seeing where there are some schools that are looking to introduce and implement AI teachers, like AI taking over the classroom. And I don't know, that really worries me, because I think that you need a teacher, you need a person to watch you get it. That's part of the human experience. To watch you get it is great. Being in a classroom that's led by AI has to be like being in a driverless car. And you get in, and they tell you it's safe. They tell you it'll get you where you're going, but you get in, and, you know, maybe they programmed it to make sure it makes the light, but not to speed, you know. But you're in the back seat for some reason. I mean, I guess there's no wheel, so might as well. And you're just looking out the windshield the whole time like, okay, they say this is how you get there, but I've never gone this way before. And now you're just sitting there like, oh, I think you missed the left. Oh. Really nobody to talk to in here, so I started talking to myself. Oh, that's a bus, that's a bus, that's a bus, that's a bus, that's a bus. Because one thing about being here that that I cannot stress enough, the way y'all's buses move is wildly different than what I'm used to. If I'm being honest, I don't know how you train your bus drivers. Or what happens when a bus driver hits a person, but it looks like they're trying to find out every turn. I was crossing the street to come here, and the bus driver cut the wheel so hard in front of me and looked at me the entire time. But you're in this driverless car, and it says it's going to get you where you're going. And so maybe you should trust it. Who knows? But sometimes prefer a person, you know? I know that we don't necessarily treat everything this way. Like, the best example I can give is when it comes to school and how kids are using ChatGPT and other AI to do their homework for them or do the lesson for them and turn it in. The big fear there is that they will not know how to think to a conclusion, right? Like, if we're being honest, and this isn't to disparage what anyone teaches or how they teach it, but a lot of the actual lessons you learn in school don't matter as much as you taking the steps to get to the end product, right? Like, it isn't imperative that you read Mark Twain. But it is good that you read something that is not how the people that you know talk, and it's not from a time that you live in, and it opens up your mind to that the world might be different, you know? And the fear is that if kids use this thing too much, if it's completely abused, that you'll essentially graduate someone who is illiterate and not able to think critically about anything. And they'll be a doctor. And I get that. I get that fear. But you also have to look at it from the perspective of those kids, because they're essentially being told that, look, we try to teach you well so that you can go out into the world and be productive and maybe get a good job. But as far as good jobs, we're like done with those. So you're not going to get one that's going to go to AI. But don't use the AI to cheat. You got to read the whole book slow so we could be impressed by how the AI reads it fast. And so I understand how a lot of kids feel like they don't have stake in the type of future that the work that they're expected to do would link them up with, you know? Like, there's this idea that if you do everything right, you'll reap the rewards, but we're already telling you the rewards won't be there by the time you get done. And so I see things like them bringing AI into these UK schools and paying for these programs. You have to ask yourself, is this really coming out of the kindness of someone's heart? Or is this to make money? Is there a company that will make money? And surely there is. Because the programs range in prices. There's one program, though, that is being implemented in school. I think, I could be wrong about the exact number, but I'm pretty sure that the amount that the program is going to cost the school is like £27,000, which I'm not saying is the best salary in the world, but you could pay that to a person, you know? And it just freaks me out because I only know what it's like in the American school system, which is scary enough. And not just because of the shootings. It's also... it's not because I'm saying the American school system is already difficult enough because you have underpaid and overworked teachers that have to take extra jobs and just fight for their lives and then still spend their own money to get supplies for kids to do the work that they're expected to do. All right? Just to like stay even slightly above water. So how can you not expect this kid who's already been given less resources than kids in other districts and kids who, you know, by some accident happen to go to a great school or happen to be in a place with money, how can you not expect them to use ChatGPT to get them to close the gap? And how can you not expect these teachers to be like, I already drive Uber, deliver pizza, and teach geography. I don't know if I can try to find the AI. You know? Because you can get really far without knowing. Actually, that's one thing I think about all the time. I don't know if your schools are good or not, but I also don't know if it matters, at least to Americans, because if you come over to the U.S. with your accent, we'll believe you. Like, people in the U.S. fall for the British accent so hard, it's kind of unfair that we were ever number one. Like even a lot of the conspiracy theories that we believe in the U.S. did kind of come from a British guy who just talks smooth. You know, like he comes over after y'all kicked him out for being too wild, and then he's like, you know, there's lizards in all the people. And we're like, when he says it, it makes sense. You know, y'all have some phenomenal exports. But you do have some rough ones. You know? Like, why'd y'all do like that? Sending Piers Morgan to us. It almost constitutes an act of war. Like I don't know who else you could have sent that Boris Johnson wouldn't have been as destructive as Piers Morgan on our TV all the time. What did we ever do to you? I'd like to think that the UK holds like centuries-long grudges. And I'm like, okay, all right, y'all think you cute. You think you cute, you gonna leave me. Just wait. Wait like 200 years. I'm gonna send the most annoying man that's ever lived to be on 3 of your news stations every day. No? Because it's difficult. I mean, you can get really far without knowing much. That's scary. And that's even before AI. Ask Piers Morgan. You can get so far without knowing anything. In fact, there was a teacher in the U.S. This blew my mind. This teacher, and look, I'd have to look it up again, but I was throwing it out there. British man. It just sort of backs up my point. This dude taught in the U.S. for 8 years, and he couldn't read. He couldn't read. Imagine somebody failing you who can't read. Imagine you turning your paper and they're like, I don't even know what this says, but it looked wrong. Like, this look like garbage, man. Nah, this dude really figured it out. This is one of those stories that kind of went semi-viral before virality was like well established. So before YouTube and like things could pop off on Twitter, Facebook, or anything, this dude got his like maybe his master's or something, and started teaching. And I think he was teaching like middle school, and taught middle school for like 8 years. Could never read, but what he would do was he was very good at picking out personalities. This was his talent. This was his thing that he had used his entire life. He could read people. He couldn't read words, but he knew. He knew people so perfectly, he could laser into them, and he knew so much about you just by looking at you. And one of the things he would do every year, every semester, he would lock in on like 2 or 3 of the smartest kids in class. Just naturally smart, just genuinely gifted. And he would have them, read a paragraph or 2 to the class starting the lesson. And then he would basically, watching over them, kind of get the smart kids to teach all the other kids. And it was astounding. That's wild. I'm sure that's what they think the AI will do. I'm sure that's what this dude would lock in, and he'd just see, okay. He'd be like, today, can you read page 11? Can you read page 12? Can you read page 13? And we'll all just take notes in our books as we go, right? As the kids would be taking notes, as the other kids were reading and everything. And one of the things that he said in his defense, he's like, show me where the kids that I taught aren't proficient in what I was teaching. My methods work. And it's fitting that he was teaching middle school too, because middle schoolers are some bullies. A middle schooler is the only one with the real audacity to be like, I don't think he can read. That would never happen in higher education. Like, if you're getting your master's and your professor can't read, you would second guess yourself. You'd be like, no, I must be missing something. He must just be like so locked in that he never looks at the book. No, only a middle schooler would be like, I bet you he can't read, dog. Because a middle schooler will blackmail you too. A middle schooler would be like, hey, look, it's A's for me and my boys the rest of the year. Or we telling everybody you can't read. That's A, as in the first letter. That's A as in the first letter that you can't read, because you can't read, okay? If I even see a closed A that look like a B, I'm telling everybody. Imagine that. Imagine getting caught. Imagine principal, vice principal got to pull you into the office. You sitting down, because the kids loved him. He never gave homework. You sitting down, what's going on, y'all? How's everything going? We need to talk to you about something that's a bit troubling. We are hearing, it's honestly hard to even say this out loud. I feel so embarrassed even bringing it up, but there have been some accusations by some students and maybe a few parents as well that you ooh. Because you gotta think about it. If you're wrong, you look so crazy as the principal. If you're wrong, you look like you believe everything you've ever been told in your life. If you're a principal that drags a teacher into a room to be like, can you read? Like, you hired me. Like, can I read? Principal sitting him down. Okay, look, so there have been some concerns and some accusations by some students and some parents that your literacy is not in the room with us. And I don't know if they would have the teacher in there by himself or they'd have the kid that accused him of not being able to read because he didn't get the A he wanted. Maybe he's sitting there. Teacher, this is preposterous. words you say when you don't know how to spell it. This is preposterous. Me not be able to read. What? How dare you? How absolutely dare you? Kids sitting there. Make them read something. Make him read something. He gonna do it anyway if he can do it. They try to get him to sign his resignation letters. They're like, can you read it? I'm not even gonna dignify that with a response. Kid sitting there, that means no. No? And that's my fear. That's my big fear, is that you let this system start, it only benefits companies, and before you know it, it's an entire generation, an entire country of people who aren't proficient in thinking skills. They can't think critically. They're not truly literate. And never mind not just reading for fun. They do not really grasp how important reading is, because you can either cheat the AI or the AI has the best interests of the company in mind. Because that's another thing that was happening with Duolingo. It's just all these ads started popping up, ads for companies, because they're a company that's trying to make money, And so what if that happens? What if you implement so much AI into all of these schools and it goes left? How fast can you train an entire generation of teachers that were burned out and underpaid and overwhelmed to begin with? That means that you could have an entire generation of UK teachers coming to the US not knowing how to read and teaching our kids not to read. Could be a disaster. Never underestimate the power and the impact that a teacher can have on your life. I remember a teacher sat me down and told me something I didn't even know about myself. This teacher sat me down and told me, you got a lot of nervous energy. Like, and I was like in middle school where you can't even be polite. You just got to get right to the point. Like, they just sat me down. You got a lot of nervous energy. All right. You ever thought of drawing? Just channel it somehow. Right. I was like, oh no, I never thought to draw. I love anime. Yeah, maybe I'll draw. And I drew something, and my teacher was like, draw something, bring it to me. I'd like to see what you draw. And so I did. And when I showed my teacher my drawing, they were like, we're gonna find something else. For you to do with your energy, all right?
I'll be honest with y'all though, I've stopped getting mad at white people who just call the cops on black people for no reason. I've stopped getting upset. I've started just retaliating. Now if I see a white person doing anything I don't like or understand, which is none of my business but makes me uncomfortable, I just dial those 3 numbers. I'll just be sitting in the park and just like, Yeah, 911. She kissing the dog way too hard. This is absolutely unacceptable. This is all tongue out here. You need to hurry. It doesn't look like the dog into it. Please get here quickly. I'll be at the grocery store. I'll be checking out at the grocery store. And there'll be like a white guy in front of me. But he's not buying any food from the grocery store. He getting those weird non-food items that the grocery store sells. So it'll just be like a belt and a knife. I'm like, yeah, 911, please. He looked like Dama to begin with. Please hurry. I don't like the way his receipt looks.
I've started just calling the cops all white people who I think are calling the cops all me. We just have a standoff. I'm like, well, I didn't dial first. She did, okay? Well, send one for her, send one for me, okay? They could just have a standoff. This might be too niche, but did y'all see the drama happening with the people that the movie The Blind Side is based off of? All right, if you don't know the story, I'll bring up to speed as quickly as possible. Basically, The Blind Side is a movie from 2009 where Sandra Bullock won the Oscar for playing the greatest white woman that's ever lived. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it goes Joan of Arc, Amelia Earhart, this lady, okay? And in the movie, she drives up her car to what I can only describe as the biggest black child that's ever been, all right? He is supposed to be in school, but he looked like a 43rd grader. This is the grownest looking kid I've ever seen in my life. She drives up and he's like, huh? But like, his shoulders got bigger when he turned. It was insane. And then she's like, come home with me, which historically, oh. But then he comes home with them, and then they're like, you should play football, and he does, and then he makes it into the NFL because it turns out being big is a huge advantage. But now, Michael Oher, the guy that the movie is based off of, came out and said that he saw no money from the movie based on his life, and what he actually signed when he was a kid, which is when he thought they were adopting him, what he actually signed was conservatorship so that they could get his money. I know, he thought he was getting a Disney movie, and this nigga got Britney Spears. It's absolutely horrible. And what do you do in that situation? Because it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. All the damage has been done. He may never see the money, and it's probably already been spent. You know what I mean? We can't give him his story back. We can't give him back those years he spent trusting them. I think I have a solution, though. All we gotta do is give Michael 2 free tackles. He can use them whenever he wants. I mean, the cost of the medical bills alone will be exactly the money that they stole from him. He's still a huge man. And we won't make a movie, we'll just make 2 TikToks. 1 for each tackle. And then at the end of the TikTok, you'll just be like, blindsided! I'll be brief because I know people are tired of talking about him. But it does feel weird that Trump is this indicted. Like, goddamn. I thought they get him for something. I think they get him for everything. As someone who doesn't like him, I thought I was following the story pretty closely. And every time he gets indicted, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know he did that one. That's crazy. This man has 91 felony charges. That's more than most gangs. That is absolutely insane. Man, they giving Trump the full nigga treatment. This is crazy. That dude must check his hands every day to make sure they're still white. Just like, how is this happening to me? And this most recent one is the wildest, because if you aren't familiar in Fulton County, where Trump was most recently indicted, this is the first place where they said that they want to process him at the jailhouse instead of the courthouse. Because if they do it at the jailhouse, he'll have to do the fingerprint and he'll have to do the mugshot, which is what he's been avoiding this entire time, which is what lets me know that he's not a good businessman. He's not. Yo, if Trump got his mugshot taken and put that mugshot on a shirt, it would be the highest selling shirt of all time, okay? Forget Supreme. This would be the highest selling shirt in the history of people. First of all of his fans would buy it because they'd be like, look, free my dog Trump. You know what I'm saying? All of them would buy it. And then we would also buy it. We'd be like, look at this punk ass on this shirt. Look at this goofy ass on this shirt. Struggling ass on this shirt. He could be printing money, and instead he's, whatever. What a disappointment. He'd make so much money, he'd actually be a billionaire. You know what I mean?
I had like a weird memory the other week of this thing happening. I thought I'd share it with you. Like my favorite person to spend time with in the entire world when I was a little kid was my grandma. And everybody knows that was blessed enough to have grandparents. Grandparents, instant daycare. Anytime your parents got to go somewhere, you're chilling with grandparents, right? So go everywhere my grandma went. We'd always have a good time. You know? And I remember when I was 8, especially my mom was working really hard and everything. And when I was 8, went everywhere that my grandma went, which meant I was going to hella funerals.
Oh, my grandmama's squad was falling off. Like it was rough. It was like 2 funerals a week. I was like, how many people do you know? This is crazy. They were dropping like flies. And that was the worst part too, is that when you go to a funeral with some of the same people every time, at a certain point you start to be like, which one of y'all is next? Like, this is getting uncomfortable. I was wearing my little suit out, okay?
I remember this one funeral in particular, one of the more rhythmic funerals that we had been to. Everyone sort of had this unspoken agreement that when we were doing the sort of funeral procession of viewing the body, it was like to the music, you know? You walk up, you get 8 bars to grieve, and then you move on, you know? And I remember it was my turn, which meant it was my grandma's turn. That'd be weird if I had a turn all by myself. That'd be insane.
If an 8-year-old kid walks up to a casket by themselves at a funeral, they killed that person, all right? That's just an 8-year-old walking up to be like, just checking.
And so I'm about to walk up with my grandma, but as we start walking, we notice that the lady that was still up there hasn't moved. So she's either still thinking or like overcome with emotion. Something's happening, right? So we just keep walking. We don't want to stop mid-aisle, and so we walk up next to her. So now it's this lady that I don't know, my grandma, and me. And I wouldn't look this up until years later because it gave me nightmares for a while, but I didn't really think to Google it yet. Apparently, long after the process has been done for a body to be presented at a funeral, there's still muscles, there's still nerves that can twitch, right? So as the 3 of us are standing there, the woman in the casket went.
And even at 8 years old, I was like, hold it together. Hold it together, stay calm. Whatever you do, stay calm. Because look, I've been going to a lot of funerals, right? But even as an 8-year-old that's going to a lot of funerals, I still haven't fully conceptualized the idea of death, but I know what it's like to ruin a party, you know what I mean? So I was like, just calm down and hold together. I'm trying to center myself. And then the woman on the other side of my grandma goes, "Wah!" And for a reason I still don't understand, my grandma turned around to the whole rest of the congregation and was like, she moved. And everybody cleared out. We all walked out together. It took so long to calm everybody down. It took so long to get people to come back inside, sit down, chill out. Because there were people outside that were like, nah, I'm not going back in there. No, ain't no reason to grieve if she risen. I ain't playing with that. Y'all can do what you want, but if she up, she up. All right. In fact, she owed me a little something, so when you get in there, tell her that I want my 15 if this was just like a weekend she was playing Bernie.
We get back inside, finally calmed down, finally finishing procession, viewing the body and everything. There was this one woman. I know I saw her, but I caught her because I was sitting second row and I was looking in between 2 people. This woman hesitant as she was approaching the body, just, you know. And she went, wake up. And even as they were lowering her at the cemetery and they threw the dirt on her, part of me was like, we don't know. We have no idea. I think the other reason that I'm scared of getting older is that, like, we only really value youth, especially in America. You know, other cultures don't always have this problem, and we don't really value what comes with aging. You know, like the wisdom that you get, or the deep level of empathy, because you've now been alive long enough to make your own mistakes and have deep regrets. And so when someone does something to you, it's easier to forgive them potentially because you know what it's like to make a mistake. All that comes with getting older. All your hard work starts paying off when you get older. Everything you do today will, you'll see the fruits of tomorrow, you know? But we still are like, nah, I want to be young. I want to look young. I want to feel young. Act young, whatever. I think the main reason I'm scared of getting older is I finally had a bad fall, and it was like I really felt like an old motherfucker too. It was I went down, like it was terrible. I've been talking all that good shit about Joe Biden this whole time. And then I hit the ground just like him. I was like, because this is the thing, I fought the fall. Like if I had just fallen like a young man, it would have been respectable. I would have tripped, people would understand and everything. But I fought it all the way down. At one point, I was horizontal, just grabbing stuff like, nonstop, to the point where I actually pulled stuff onto me when I landed. People who didn't know me were like, ooh, I fell so hard, I didn't let anybody help me up. I needed a second to gather myself. You know? There's a little bit more show left. I want to thank all y'all for coming out. My name is Josh Johnson. Have a great rest of the night. I appreciate you.